Fans, facts, and feelings. Boy, oh boy, am I in my feelings. I'm in my feelings right now. And yes, Shedeur Sanders, you see him. He's got me all in my feelings as a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, this segment that we're doing today is strictly on Shedeur Sanders. Now, first and foremost, NFL GMs, organizations, they evaluate things. They're either right or wrong. Ain't no in between with some of the scouting. But with Shedeur Sanders, be right and his eye test and the scouting prowess says you got it wrong. First team that I'm gonna say got it wrong was the Saints. All right, first year Kellen Moore, you want to get an offensive lineman. You come from Philly. That's the fabric that Philadelphia does. They get good linemen. Cool, you got a good lineman to protect the quarterback. Second round, you got a quarterback, but it wasn't Shedeur Sanders. I mean, he was the second or third best quarterback on every draft board. Let's just say you wanted to get Dylan Gabriel. Nope. You go get a 26-year-old. You get Brandon Whedon 2.0. A guy that has been a journeyman. I don't even want to spend a lot of time talking about the kid, but you go get a kid from Louisville that's not done what Shedeur's done, and for whatever reason you picked him, it was an awful pick. So the Saints needed a quarterback badly. You're the donkey of the day. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, he's chilling. He's not making any decisions, and he's not being rushed. Say, for instance, he does come. It would be perfect for Shedeur to learn from him 1 year under a veteran, learn the system. So for the Steelers not to get him and to get Will Howard in the 6th round, as you did need a quarterback. That's why you drafted one. I don't understand why Mike Tomlin and that organization didn't grab him. Mike Tomlin would have been that African-American male figure like Deion that could have coached him, and it would have been a smooth transition, because a lot of people, they question whether he'll be the same kind of kid now that he's out of Deion Sanders, realm, which I think is baloney. The Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford's 37 years old. What are we doing? You allowed him to test the market in free agency this year, and he came back, but he's on a 2-year deal, and he's 37. I mean, Shedeur could have learned under McVay. They had some talent there, a great young defense. He would have been out in L.A. I think that would have been a good fit for him to serve as the backup. Unless you think Jimmy Garoppolo's better than him. The Bennett kid from Georgia, better than him. I doubt it. Okay? Then you go to the Raiders. Geno Smith, he's 34. Pete Carroll, you believed in Geno, you gave him a shot, but he's getting older, and you could have allowed your QB whispering to be with Shedeur, and you could have brought him underneath him for a year, maybe 2. Whatever the case may be, the Raiders needed him. Genty and him would have been a nice young nucleus to bring up together. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. The fans would have loved to have Shedeur in Vegas. All right? Giants. I'm not going to kill you too bad, because Dart did throw for 4,000 yards in the SEC several times. Lane Kiffin was his coach. He was good at Ole Miss. He wasn't great, but he was good. And some had him over Shedeur. And he's more mobile than Shedeur. But the decision making and the arm strength and all that, I just don't think he's that much better than Shedeur. Shedeur would have been better for that market in New York. Primetime son in New York with neighbors. That young defensive line that you're acquiring with Abdul Carter. Shedeur and Abdul Carter would have been similar to having Stroud and Will Anderson in Houston. But you would have got it at like 3 and 21 instead of 2 and 3 like Houston did. So I feel like that the Giants dropped the ball on getting him per market value, but the jury's still out on that. We're going to see what Dart is going to do. But regardless, either QB will have sat behind Russell Wilson. And that's what it seems like they're going to do this year. So I just think the Giants, they're not as bad as the rest of the organizations, because Dart is not bad. And some people feel like that they're like this and that, neck and neck. But I'm just saying, for the market and for making that team, that locker room more exciting, I think you get primetime son. And last but not least, the Browns. kudos to you getting him. But why would you get Dylan Gabriel before him first in the third round? That should have been the round you got him. And then you should have spent the fifth round pick on something else that you needed. Debt, a lineman, a wide receiver. Because last I checked, Jerry Jeudy and Tillman is really the only threats that you have on that side. So you go get Fannin. I like that pick, the tight end. But the Browns, why wouldn't you grab him in the third pick instead of the fifth pick? And so now you have Pickett, you have Dylan, Gabriel, and you have Shedeur Samuels all fighting for a starting position because Flacco is your experienced, dependable backup. But you want to allow one of those guys to take that job from him. And I like the competition that you're acquiring, but you could have got more value and more picks out of that and not pick Shedeur in the fifth round. You should have picked him in the third. So with that said, I just feel like that these teams, they're passing on a kid that's going to be great. You have to understand that some of these things happen and draft people slide, but not this far. And I don't know if he's being Kaepernicked, like if the organizations said something to another to where they're playing this game about this kid and his talent. I don't know what it's on, but I'm not buying that he didn't do well in the interviews with the professionalism that he showed up into this point. I'm not buying the arrogancy. There's a lot more kids with a lot more arrogancy out here that they're taking higher chances on in different positions. Not the quarterback, but again, I don't think that if his flashiness or his arrogance was an issue, it would have been illustrated way more as he was at Colorado. I think it would have been way more, within the interviews. Now, we don't know. This is all speculation. I'm not going to say he did great. I'm not going to say he bombed him. But I just don't think that he showed lack of preparation or professionalism with knowing the pedigree and knowing what his dad knows and how to handle this. He didn't have to go to Senior Bowl. A lot of people don't do that, and they still get drafted well. So I just feel like now he was already a killer and a beast, but we've put more weight on this thing now for him to perform and be great because it's like now the world's against him. And I just think that, pressure busts pipes and, creates diamonds, and we're going to get a diamond out of this kid. But again, shout out to the Sanders family for staying humble and knowing that God got you guys. The kids stated, like, I knew God got me. And he jumped in a swimming pool, super excited. Just a kid excited to get his name called, to put that hat on. And I'm super excited for you. The haters will hate. They will call it nepotism going bad and all that good stuff. But no, this kid's the real deal. And he's going to show it. And Cleveland, you almost messed this up by not grabbing him first, but you grabbed him. And it's all that matters. So with that said, I'm an Eagle fan, but I'm going to be pulling for the Browns. I'm going to be pulling for Shedeur because this kid, yeah, he got wronged, and for whatever reason, but we don't always need a reason for the season. We don't always need a reason. Like, God is in control. So rightfully or wrongfully, he slid where he did, but I think he's going to make the best of it. And, adversity remains with the weak, but visits the strong. And so this will visit him, and he will say, see you later, adversity, and he's going to thrive. So with that said, be the right or be wrong. This isn't the draft, winners or losers. I'm just giving you a quick segment. I'm getting in my feelings and talking about the facts about Shedeur. The fact is the kid is a premier talent, and he's shown it and proved it. He's very accurate. His quarterback presence in the locker room is there. Now, he's not mobile, and he took a lot of sacks, but you could say he had a bad offensive line. With that said, I think the kid is a good prospect in the NFL. They dropped the ball on this one. So, but we're going to get to winners and losers of the draft. Me and Satch, we're going to see you, and we're going to talk. And now we're going to start having fans on the show talking about what their team did in the draft. And this is where fans, facts, and feelings starts picking up steam. So, if you're listening and you're watching this clip, contact me. Comment any way you can. If you know me, call me. If you don't know me, get on YouTube, Fans, Facts, and Feelings. Instagram, Fans, Facts, and Feelings. TikTok, I'm all over the place. Message me and allow me to bring you on Fans, Facts, and Feelings so we could discuss how good, how bad your team did in this NFL draft. I'm B. Wright. God bless and take care.